Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle one of nature's biggest puzzles. How does a tiny little seed become a colossal tree? The answer, it turns out, is a wild story written in two very simple things: the air above us and the rock below.
Okay, let's just start with a number that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. 2,000 tons. That's how much the biggest trees on the planet can weigh. Just an unbelievable amount of living stuff.
So what does that even mean? Well, picture this. It's like stacking 10 blue whales. 10, the biggest animals to ever live, right on top of each other. And all of that weight is just balanced, way up in the air, held down by roots that are, believe it or not, often pretty shallow.
So, that leads to a really obvious question, right? If the tree got that big by, eating the dirt around it, wouldn't there be a giant crater? But there isn't. So what's going on? Where does all that mass actually come from?
All right, let's get into it. The answer, and this is the wild part, doesn't start in the ground like you'd think. Nope, it starts up in the sky, in the air.
I know, it sounds completely nuts, like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it is a basic fact of life on Earth. Most of a tree's weight, the wood, the bark, the leaves, all of it, is built from one thing it literally pulls out of thin air.
And that one thing? It's carbon. You can think of it as life's ultimate Lego block. It's this chemical multi-tool you can build almost anything with. And guess what? It's just floating all around us, right now, as carbon dioxide.
Okay, but here's the catch. And it's a huge one. The air we're breathing is mostly nitrogen and oxygen. Carbon dioxide, the stuff the tree absolutely has to have, it's just a tiny, tiny fraction. We're talking 0.04%. That's it. It's like trying to build a skyscraper when your only building material is gold dust scattered across a desert.
So to get around this, the sheer scale of what a tree does is just staggering. Get this. Just to get 1 ton of carbon, a tree has to filter through 5 million cubic meters of air. That is a truly massive amount of air.
So how do they solve this problem? Well, trees basically evolved into these incredible living cities. The top of the tree, the crown, is like a massive industrial park. You've got branches that are constantly sensing and growing towards the sunlight. You have up to 1 million leaves, each one its own little factory. And it's all connected by this network of veins that act like superhighways, moving supplies around.
And if you zoom in on just one of those leaves, wow, it's a hyper-efficient, solar-powered factory. Sunlight blasts through a clear top layer, the leaf literally breathes in CO2 through these tiny little mouths, and then, deep inside, specialized cells use that sun energy to smash CO2 and water together to create sugar. That sugar is everything. It's fuel and it's building material.
So, building this massive empire out of thin air, it's one of the most amazing tricks in all of biology. But it's only half the story, because to build the really complicated stuff, like DNA and proteins, a tree needs other materials, rare stuff you just can't get from the air.
And this is where you really see the two halves of the tree's strategy come into play. Up top, the crown is the master of the sky, harvesting light, breathing CO2, building with carbon. But below ground, you have the roots. Their job is to navigate total darkness and mine the earth for things like phosphorus and nitrogen.
So yeah, let's go underground now to this second invisible empire. Because the roots are doing so much more than just sucking up water. They are active, intelligent miners, they're explorers. Seriously, every single root tip is like a tiny, self-guided probe. It's got these specialized cells that can sense gravity, so it always knows which way is down. It has other sensors that can feel for water, for different chemicals, even for vibrations. All that data gets fed into a little command center that figures out the best way to grow. And a single tree can have hundreds of thousands of these little brains, all working at once, navigating this crazy underground world.
And check this out, the roots don't just look for easy paths. They actually make their own soil. They'll wedge themselves into the tiniest cracks in solid rock, then they swell up with water, acting like a hydraulic jack, and just break the rock apart. After that, they squirt out acids to dissolve the minerals and use these special claw-like molecules to grab the exact nutrients they're looking for. It's incredible.
But even with all of that amazing tech, the tree still isn't working alone. To really make it all work, it depends on a huge ancient network of partners hidden right under our feet.
For literally hundreds of millions of years, trees have had this powerful alliance with underground fungi. It's a pretty simple deal, really. The tree has tons of sugar from its factories up in the sky, right? So it trades that energy to the fungi. And in return, the fungi, whose tiny little threads can get into places the roots can't, bring back water and those hard-to-get minerals.
And the scale of this partnership, it's just almost impossible to wrap your mind around. In a single cubic meter of forest soil, that's like a box 3 feet by 3 feet, you might find a few kilometers of tree roots. Okay, but woven all through that, you could find hundreds of kilometers of these fungal threads. It creates one of the biggest, most complex living things on the entire planet. Basically, a hidden social network connecting the whole forest.
So the next time you see a tree, just remember what you're really looking at. It's not just one thing. It's two giant interconnected empires. One reaching for the sky, literally eating the air. The other digging deep, mining solid rock. And both of them are allied with this vast, hidden kingdom right beneath your feet. Trees are just so incredibly wild. And the crazy part is we have so much more to learn.